Where's Julien at? Julien?
Happy Halloween, Michael.
Hey everyone, welcome to a Halloween edition of Up to the Real. I am your host Julien, and with me as always,
James.
Today we're going to talk about a few news things that came out this week and last week. So without further ado, let's get into it. After huge success in these past 2 weekends for Halloween, Danny McBride, which is one of the co-writers for Halloween, is going to be in talks, or he's actually thinking about writing for a Halloween sequel. Now, granted, if you have not seen the film, I won't really talk about spoilers that much, but I don't know how I feel about another sequel.
Yeah, I remember initially when you came out, you're like, it's probably not getting a sequel. You're like, it makes sense where it ends.
It did, and it really made sense how the movie ended, and I was just like, okay, so what now? Right? Like, what can you do now?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of a little upset, just a tad bit.
But the thing is, you like this one a lot, right?
This is the second best Halloween movie.
So hopefully they continue doing you right. It's one of those things like, it's like, yeah, you know, you made this one and I liked it, so hopefully if you do make something else, even though I don't want anything else, at least it'll be good.
You're right. I guess I'm a little pessimistic just because of, like, I've seen how terrible the sequels can get. So that's why I'm like, hope you don't fuck up.
It's like how I never wanted The Last of Us 2. It ends fine the first time.
You're right. I didn't think we needed a Red Dead 2, and look what happened.
Exactly. So in other movie news, Disney and Johnny Depp have parted ways. They do want to reboot the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, but without
Johnny
boy
Depp.
Jack. Well, not even Jack Sparrow, just our Jack Sparrow. They don't want to probably keep Johnny Depp around. Most likely, I'm thinking because he's kind of, over the past couple years, become more of a controversial figure.
Yep.
He already was one in the past, but whole thing's like Amber Heard and all that stuff. I think they're probably just like, let's just...
They want to wash their hands clean of it. I think at this point, Disney is trying to be that straight, narrow
Squeaky
company.
clean.
Right, that squeaky
Yeah.
clean company. Especially after we've seen a lot of childhood actors, especially in our time, go a little crazy. But I would say we don't need a reboot now.
Because it's not like, I feel like reboots usually like enough time has passed, but usually this is the same amount of time between their movies.
Right.
So it's like, it's not even, it doesn't even feel like a reboot, it just feels like a
Continuation
different,
or like a soft reboot. Like, the last one came out not this year, last year. And I'm just like, we just saw Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow literally last year. Now you're saying
Forget that.
forget all
Didn't
of
happen.
that we
Men in
just
Black
did
it.
2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, and now all of a sudden, hey, it happens. Like, God, Disney, let's pump the brakes just a tad.
No, reboot. They're going to start rebooting movies before the originals come out. That's how it's about to start working. They're going to be like, hey, here's a new franchise, but here's the reboot of it too. It's like, whoa, you haven't even given us the original. Yeah, we're rebooting the reboot now at this point. Like, yeah, Disney needs to just calm down with all that.
And I told you, I'm tired of their live adaptation remix of our cartoons, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Speaking of adaptations, Andy Muschietti, the guy who directed It Chapter 1 and who will be directing It Chapter 2, has been attached to do a live adaptation of Attack on Titan. Warner Brothers has attached him, I think, last week. Yeah, it was sometime last week. They said, you know, because of his success with It and how he did really well with the novel adaptation of It, they want to see what he can do with Attack on Titan. James?
Yeah. So again, similar to how we talked about with Halloween, you have someone who I like doing it. So I'm giving you at least that. Like, I'm putting some faith in you. Anime is getting adapted into Hollywood movies is already weird.
It's already bad. It's terrible.
And the thing is, like, I will say, because they did have the Japanese live-action version of Attack on Titan already, which was pretty awful.
Thank you.
And it didn't make a lot of sense, because the whole thing with Attack on Titan is they're all supposed to be kind of, like, European, except for one character is Japanese.
Japanese, exactly.
So to have a whole cast of Japanese makes it a little weird. So maybe at least this one would be cool if they actually had, like... Yeah, like, and had just, like, one Japanese person like that person is special because of that. Either way, I don't need a lot of live action stuff. Like occasionally it'll hit, like, but not often.
Well, let's be honest. What anime adaptation hit at all?
None in the U.S. There's like a couple on there, like the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney games. They turned those into anime, then into movies. I think Rurouni Kenshin had an okay one.
Full Metal Alchemist was.
It was whatever. It's another one where it's weird because those are all clearly like white German people, but they're Japanese in the movie. And then
the abysmal Death Note.
That's like that's what I'm saying. Like, because like I think there is like a Japanese Death Note which isn't too bad live action, but then you look at the Netflix one, it's like I don't know.
All right, William Dafoe was okay, but it's like all right.
And speaking of movies that should be put on hold, this one shouldn't be. But Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Volume 3, has officially been put on the back burner. Fans at this point are campaigning hard to get James Gunn back, even like paying thousands of dollars to get like billboards just to try to get Disney to hire back James Gunn. At this point, I don't know if I think the damage has already been done. Like, I would love for it to come back.
I don't think the damage is done. The thing is like back to what we were talking about earlier. Disney is trying to be that squeaky clean, right on the nose kind of company, and it's like Warner Brothers is like, hey, we're not about to basically get mad over something that you tweeted years ago, right? So like, yeah, we're gonna still put you on and keep you on hold. And the thing is, it's like we were talking about earlier, the way that Disney handled this situation is the reason why this movie is going to be put on hold.
Yeah,
like. I personally think that if you want to keep Guardians of the Galaxy, you got to bring James Gunn. You got to bring Batista back. Like,
I agree, but like now that James Gunn's are like, all right, move around Suicide Squad instead now. It's like, can you easily get him back?
Depends on his contract with Warner Brothers. We don't know what his stakes are. We don't know what's going on. All we know is he's attached to write and possibly take over the directing chair. Yeah. But I don't know, man.
I like to think that like he would want to come back because Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of like his.
That's
thing.
his baby. He has said after he got fired that he wants to come back.
See, but now I just wonder I wonder if the more time passes, he's like, nah, I don't need that anymore. Like, y'all don't want me. I don't want to come back.
Depends on how Suicide Squad 2 does.
That's true. That's very true.
So if Suicide Squad 2 does well, I can literally see James Gunn being like,
but that's a while till Guardians 3 then, because we still have to get that movie started making before we even see how that comes out, and then see if they want to bring it back for. I would see more likely him coming for a Guardians 4 than Guardians 3 at this point.
And I feel like Guardians 3, if they try to write a director, get it attached to writer and director,
we won't get a Guardians 4.
No, we will get a Guardians 4. I just think that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is gonna be so bad.
That's what I'm saying.
They're gonna be like, Gunn, we need you.
That's true too. Yeah.
So it's that, and then last but not least, speaking of Disney has basically been trying to campaign because this is around the time of Oscar season. Oscar season comes right the week before week before Halloween till about January.
Yeah, because they usually hold them in February.
Right, because all the movies that you want to be critically acclaimed are going to come out at this moment. The problem is, not the problem, what's interesting is Disney is putting Black Panther as the forerunner. And they only want, and here's the list, they want Incredibles 2 to be nominated for Best Action. Mary Poppins Returns might get Best Score.
Is that what the movie's called?
Mary Poppins Returns, yes. They want that to be nominated for Best Original Score, Best Musical Score, Best Original Song. You know, that's going to be their musical movie. But for their Marvel movies, they want Black Panther to be nominated for Best Actor, Best Director, Best Special Effects, Best Adapted Screenplay.
Okay.
And they only want Avengers Infinity War to be nominated for Best Visual Effects.
That doesn't surprise me as much as I liked Infinity War. It does, like, if you just go watch that movie and you don't know anything else, you're just like,
what?
Yeah, like Black Panther is a self-contained story where you can look at Avengers Infinity War and be like, this looks pretty.
It's a pretty damn beautiful movie.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what I liked about it. But the thing is, it's like, in terms of story, in terms of keeping it self-contained, that's what I really loved about Black Panther, because to be honest, out of all the MCU movies, I would put it in the top 3 of best story-driven films. I would say Winter Soldier was number 1, Black Panther 2, and then Iron Man 3. Not Iron Man 3. Third entry, Iron Man. In terms of no. I put Guardians of the Galaxy over that.
Okay, I was gonna
there
say.
You go. So yeah, basically Winter Soldier, Black Panther, and then Guardians of the Galaxy. But yeah, like in terms of storytelling, this was a really good movie, and I can see why Marvel or Disney wants to make this Academy Award.
Yeah.
But the thing is like the Academy does not like superhero movies.
No, because they're not fancy enough.
The only one that was fancy enough for them was Dark Knight.
And probably because Heath Ledger died. Like, I feel like that was a big factor. Like, good movie and great acting role, but, like, I feel like that has a huge contributing factor is, like, they feel like it's more artistic because this actor died shortly after playing this character. Where, yeah, I don't know, Disney movies and the Marvel movies, like, I don't see any of them necessarily being usually, like, masterpieces. They're fun movies to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther, like I said, would probably be one of the closest between, like, its score and it actually has a story to tell and it actually has a meaning behind everything versus just, like, good guy, bad guy. Duh. So, yeah, I don't know. The weirdest thing is, like, we were talking about, because the Oscars last year were in March to avoid being on the same time as the Olympics, where they're usually in February. So it's like Black Panther was technically out before the last Oscars, but it wasn't, like, in time for it. So now I had to wait, like, over a whole year to come back around. Contention. Yeah.
Will it be in contention? We'll see. I want to see at least Best Director and maybe Best Adapted Screenplay at least. But I don't think it'll be nominated for Best Picture. There's too many phenomenal movies that came out this year. I just at least want one win for Marvel. Just one.
One unrelated note, kind of movie related. The Philadelphia 76ers just showed off a new jersey that's inspired by Rocky and Creed.
Yeah.
They look pretty cool. That's kind of movie related.
Cool. No, that is movie related. I'm probably going to put some photos on it in the B-roll and show you guys. But yeah, those jerseys look
pretty nice.
Cool.
Philly's looking good.
But when they wore them, no, they didn't wear them yet. They're supposed to be wearing them the week of the release date for Creed, if I remember correctly. And so, like, they look dope. They look dope as hell. And it'll be nice if they did get Stallone and Michael B. Jordan to come out and wear the jerseys and shit before the game. That would be really dope. So that's all of our movie news over here at Up to the Real. What is some movie news that we've missed? Put it in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about us. And do you have anything you want to say?
Nah, man, just share your friends and keep on watching.
Thanks, guys. See you next time. Oh no. Oh no.
I mean, I knew it was gonna go bad and I was gonna make you guys like help me fix it, so.